Think you were playing two songs? Why me, Lord? Do you know that one? You know the tune? Chris Christopherson song. Huh? Yeah. I just was chuckling when I saw that. I said, he thinks he's going to do two of them. And that would be fine with me. That would be fine with me. Well, they asked me once again to speak, so I guess I didn't strike out the first time. But I'm a bit of a different speaker. I'll just tell you, and I've probably told you before, but that's part of the dilemma. I have a real memory issue. So used to, and most people can vouch for this, when I'd get up here to speak 20 plus years ago, that one sheet of paper was enough. I just rattle on, memory like a steel trap, and it's just not that way anymore. So I got to write everything down, and still sometimes don't get it done. Well, listen, we're having communion today, so let's. I've just got a couple of things that I want to run past you here, and when I picked out the name of that, the name of the sermon there, I was just thinking actually of something else. And hold on just a second. I was thinking about when Jesus was choosing his disciples. And I was thinking about as he was approaching those disciples, that did he know them ahead of time? Did he know that he was approaching this one and he was going to become his disciple? Or did he just happen to meet them? What do you think? You think he knew them? You think as he began walking to meet his disciples, or to meet to actually begin to open his ministry, that he knew who his 12 would be? Yeah.
He saw the one under the tree praying.
Okay, all right. Well, that's a good start. That's a good start.
A lot of time in prayer, and I think that God the Father told him what was going to happen that day.
Okay. So it's not like us that we might, so John might say, hey, I need some of you church members to go out here and gather in 6 people to lead out in our services here for the next month. I mean, we wouldn't know where to start, would we? We could look inwardly, but that might not work either. All of a sudden, everybody would be out the door. Not looking at me. Before I forget about this, I wanted to say something about Eric's sermon this past Sabbath. And Eric and I and others from this church attended and were impressed and moved by the afternoon speaker up there, Alex Rodriguez. And Eric and I talked quite a bit about him. And he's an associate speaker and evangelistic director at the Voice of Prophecy. And he spoke about soul winning planned and undertaken by you and I. Grassroots, mostly on a one-by-one basis. And Eric beat me to it, and he preached about that last week. Good thievery, that's all right. You done a better job than I would have done. It was a good job. But speaking of evangelistic meetings, I'd like to ask a question here, out of curiosity. How many people sitting here today were raised in the Seventh-day Adventist Church, or in other words, was born into? Raise them high. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8. Okay, you can put them down. Well, that's probably a better percentage than I thought it might be. 8, okay. Of those 8, that were born and raised in the Seventh-day Adventist Church, did you ever drop out and then come back in? Never. You stuck with it the whole time. Linda dropped out, Ronnie dropped out. And I knew that. I know both of you. In any case, so that's a pretty good retention, by the way, but it's also a good claim of new members as we go the way.
Still praying for my kids though.
Still praying what?
For my kids though.
Oh, well, believe me, Linda and I too, we raised our boys in Seventh-day Adventist Church, sent them to church school, and they actually paid a little bit of church college. And right now they're probably further away from church than you would ever imagine. But that doesn't diminish the prayers. God is a powerful God that we serve. Amen. And I believe that prayer will be answered. I kind of got off track there talking about the disciples, but when we think about Jesus and his disciples, and I was thinking about he brought together the 12 there for the Last Supper, and he knew at that time that there was one sitting there that was going to betray him. And then when he took some disciples with him as he prayed, he would come back, I think at least once, maybe twice, come back, and he found his disciples asleep as he prayed. And he knew, as he talked to the Father, what he was facing in the very near future. And I'm sure it hurt him to think, and he spoke to them about it when they did wake up, that it hurt him very deeply that they couldn't stay awake for just a short period of time to support him. Because even though facing what he knew as death in the very near future, being the Son of God, and knowing that there would be, he knew what was going to happen down the road, the resurrection, he knew all this. But at the same time, he was hurting. He was hurting for the human race. And he was beginning to see all that was going to transpire after he died upon the cross. He could see himself doing that. And so he was disappointed as he came back and found his supporters there asleep. I already asked you that about, did Jesus know them? You know, we think about if he knew them. It's a little funny, I guess, or I think it's a little funny. And if in his mind's list, and he's saying, okay, who did God give me? You know, and he's going down through, fisherman? You got to be kidding me. I'm gonna have to learn to walk on water, you know, which wasn't a problem. But fisherman and a money changer? You got to be kidding me. You know, I'm going to get laughed out of the office here on this. But Jesus drew them all together, and as we read and study about those disciples and how they came together supporting Jesus, and how they actually, even though they kind of had I thought, what kind of a shortcoming as Jesus was buried and resurrected, and they were kind of hidden away a bit. I think they had fear themselves that they were the next target. And of course, several of them or others among them that were told that they were going to deny Jesus when he was dead at a very short period of time. And of course, Peter says, no, I would never do that. I would never do that. And how many times did he deny him? He denied him 3 times in a very, very short period of time. And so he had, there's the main ones, and I'm sorry, I'm kind of jumping around here. Peter, James, John, Andrew, and Matthew, and the tax collector. the ones that we mostly think about. And Jesus' ministry was teaching the disciples, excuse me, for about 3.5 years, 3 to 3.5 years. And so they were well taught, well prepared, but still knocked down very, very hard when Jesus was put on the cross and died. He was without a doubt their leader. He is without a doubt today our leader. Amen. And we're so grateful that that he was able to do that for us. I had something here that I wanted to share with you. It's called, it's in a reading here called Unwanted Gifts, and it's actually the last part of this. It says, Jesus offered the Jewish people the greatest gift ever imagined, and they chose to reject it. They exchanged everlasting life for everlasting death. Jesus had come to Israel with hope for their hopelessness, light for their darkness, and courage to endure difficulties. He came to the world to give them beauty for ashes, the oil of joy for mourning, the garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness. He raised the dead. He gave sight to the blind. He fed the multitudes. He healed the lepers. He raised the dead. He gave sight, and he showed compassion to all. And still, the people of his day returned the gift Jesus came to the world to give them. They said to Jesus, "Thanks, but no thanks. We don't want this." They wanted a Messiah, but not that kind of Messiah. A Messiah who would conquer the Romans, who would have been welcomed, but a Messiah who offered a new heart. Was a new heart? That's not what they were looking for. God offers you and I the gift of eternity. Hold on to it tightly. It is the one gift you never want to return. I think to now then we would be moving toward communion. Is that what we're going to do now, Pastor?
Yes, ladies in the fellowship hall, men in the classroom by the rear window.